Good evening and welcome to Life Examined. I am Gilbert King Elisa. If it's the first time that you're here with us, this is a photography show based on observations. My background is in photography, education, technology, music, among other things. I'd like to share some of these observations with you. If you'd like to contract me for photography gigs, you can go to the links that are on this video, as well as contact me through Facebook, through Instagram, or just stop me on the street in person and say, hey, you're that guy from the photography video, or you're that guy who takes those pictures on Instagram or on Facebook. Just stop me and see if we can do business together. I welcome collaborations. I also welcome other business involving technology, videography, weddings, anniversaries, events. There's no event too big or too small that Gilbert King Elisa Photography cannot handle. We are equipped, we are ready for action. And with that, let's get started. I hope you've had an excellent weekend, a good Monday, and have come into Tuesday ready to meet your goals, ready to move your body, ready for your goals to happen. Now, I do not dabble in what is called success porn. Everyone can do it, everyone is special. Everyone just needs to manifest this into their reality. I am here for the hard work. I am here for the active spirit. I am here for those that are removed from positive information. I am here for you in your time of spiritual need, in a time that you might consider spiritless. Let me be that person that provides a little bit more energy in your life if you need it. And together we will go. I am growing with you as I am talking to you. I am not speaking to you from a position of lording over you, thinking that I am better than you. I am here to remind you of things that you might have forgotten, and also to connect with people that are of like mind, people that might not live around you. Sometimes we are blessed with being in areas with people where people who don't necessarily share our point of view are around us, and the internet has made it so we can connect virtually, remotely. Let's get started. Photography show. What camera do you use? Many people will ask that question. What kind of camera is in your camera bag? What gear do you shoot with? What's more important, the camera that you use or the scope of the lens that you use to see things with? What good is gear if you don't know how to use it? As you see here, I pose that in the form of a question. Over here we ask questions. We are not afraid to tackle difficult subjects. I welcome difficult subjects. I am not here for the headbutting or the sensationalism or the negative aspect of disagreeing. You do need negative to get to the positive, but in this forum, we just will swim within the positive and progressing by examining things, by analyzing things. What kind of camera do you have? What kind of lens are you equipped with? Does the gear matter? How much did you pay for it? Is a cheap lens as good as an expensive lens? And if you had the expensive lens, could you see out of it? Your vision here is important, and I'm not talking about the vision that you get from an expensive lens, but the vision and clarity that you might get from being still, from being silent, from getting to know yourself from the inside. from connection, from disconnection. Whatever you decide to do next, I like to keep notes. I have a journal that I work with. I've worked with journals for years, and I write everything down as it comes to me. And I welcome and I invite you to do the same thing. The next thing that you decide to do, I implore you, I invite you to dive yourself into whatever venture that is 100%, even if you don't know if it will work, even if you've been told that it doesn't work. Just try it. And one of those good things about diving yourself head first completely into something with your measured risk is that you'll quickly find out if it's for you or if it's not for you. It's not time to play around. Just give it all you can do it, whatever it is, whether it's writing your second book, whether it's taking that shot with your new lens, whether it's going to the gym more than twice a week, whether it's adding 10 more pounds to your set. As long as you are alive, I am of the mindset that you still have an opportunity. And what else can we ask for if not opportunity? Another observation about current life is that news is fear. The fear that you get from the news will be enough to paralyze you for months, for weeks, for days, and even right now. The news is a fear delivery system from the world to inside your brain. I invite you to examine your addiction to fear and your addiction to things not working out, your addiction to the negative. You hear a lot of people say your internal conversation. Well, a lot of it is just what you're used to seeing through programming. How clean is your lens? The news keeps me informed, said no one ever. Your Amazon package is on the way. It says so on my app. I have Amazon Prime. It's going to let me know that my package is 5 stops away. Do I go out and meet the driver and get my package earlier, or do I wait? Now you've decided to wait. You get the package, or it says delivered, but when you check your package room, when you check your front porch, when you check the back of your apartment, your house, your complex, you find nothing. You went from a feeling of euphoria to a feeling of disaster. Now, that package you're waiting for has let you down. You can call the company and listen to the hokey music that some of you might like, and you realize that you have an option. You have the option of waiting 72 hours for that package to be delivered, because the person who supposedly delivered your package might have marked package delivered a little early, so just wait for it a little longer. If you're lucky, you might get 2 packages. If you're lucky, you could get your money back. If you're lucky, you might still get it the same day. How quickly does your mind change from euphoria to sadness because of an experience of something that you expected to happen and did not happen? Can you change it? What tools do you have to remedy that? What are some areas in which customer service can greatly influence your life? Who's the attendant? It might be you. Real men are in touch with their feminine side. They wear scarves, they paint their nails, they share their feelings. Men are dying of heart attacks because they don't share their feelings. If you just opened up, honey, then you wouldn't have to die of a heart attack or contemplate taking your own life. Also her, goodbye, I need a stronger person. Basketball, when played right, can be an art. It's a physical contest where there are a lot of aerials, a lot of movement. But something that's becoming a lost art in basketball is ball movement. There's a certain rhythm to it that can lull the defense into a deep sleep and make any defensive game plan not work if used correctly. What comes to mind immediately is the Mike Fratello coached Cleveland Cavaliers. They would move the ball around so much until the shot clock was up to about 5. They would get a high percentage shot, and by then the defense would be tired of chasing people around. Some might call it boring basketball. Some of you might call it a formula for success. Work with the rules, not against them. Everything that has ever been created, especially great things, but even things that are just average, before the creation, it was met with some kind of resistance. And the resistance could come in this form. You can't do that. That can't be done until it was finally achieved, until it was finally done. Everything great that was ever created was met with resistance. You are no different. Part of growth is resistance by those around you and by the thing that you're trying to accomplish. Why? Because it's not easy. Easy things are things that usually don't last long. See where that fits into your life, or at least consider it. I invite you to. See if it works. We try all solutions here, we leave nothing out. The goal is to get better, not to be right, to strive towards perfection, because it can be achieved. Then again, is being right better than being correct? Stop and think. What a revolutionary thought. Stopping and thinking. Is being right better than being correct? You can be right but not correct. Interesting. That can't be done. What will you do with that information? Will that drive you or will that stifle you? Going on the term of easiness, comfort makes people want to try less. Not necessarily try more, try less. Name some of the things that you know. Let's think about some of the things that have gotten weaker because of comfort, whether it's societal norms, whether it's an army that has not exercised its muscles in training, whether it's your own bank account, whether it's you not having read for a long time and now you're reading again, and you find it hard to do because your mind and your sight and your processing skills have diminished. So think about that. Anything that brings immediate comfort will eventually weaken you if left comfortable for too long. It might just look comfortable, but it really isn't. So be careful how long you rest for, how much time you take off from whatever. Hey, I can go to the gym tomorrow. I can read tomorrow. I can do this tomorrow. And before you know it, it becomes a mini vacation. So anything you take an extended period of time from will make you a little bit weaker. See where that fits into society and your everyday life and in images. If you leave your camera untouched for a long time, some of the parts might get rusty. If not clean, they get rusty. Just like you, you've been sitting around for a very long time and haven't played sports for a very long time, and then you try to play a game of 5-on-5 basketball or any sport, your knees will feel it, your ankles will feel it, and everything will feel the effects of that comfort, also known sometimes as that neglect. Neglect, neglect, neglect. If you neglect your teeth, brushing your teeth, you will lose teeth. If you neglect your relationship, you will see that it was something that you worked hard to get, but something that you haven't kept, something that you didn't spend a lot of time trying to keep. So whatever you neglect will eventually become weaker. Look at a lot of the buildings in Cuba. Look at a lot of the streets in Philadelphia. Neglect. Neglect is a powerful thing. It will destroy more than it can create. So the only thing that can match that, the only thing that you can do with that neglect, especially after you've stopped doing something for a very long time, is take that first step back into the ring. And that's up to you. Only you can determine that first step. The hardest step will be that first step. And then secondly, probably a week after, when you're thinking about your motivation. So a lot of neglect has to do with the motivation and keeping it going after you've started it. Now that I found the motivation, the easy part, because you have so many books and people telling you can do it, what will you do when those people are not there and that initial first step, that initial push? How do you sustain that? Well, take a second step. Continue. Let's move on. It takes courage to laugh when no one else is laughing. And especially nowadays where you have to be careful what you say because you can get in trouble. But you will hear, people will tell you that one of the biggest cures for ailment and depression and having a bad mood altogether is a genuine laugh. Not a laugh of someone watching an old woman fall down the stairs or somebody getting hit in the head with a baseball bat. But there's humor in life. If you decide not to take your life so seriously, there's a lot of humor. And a lot of humor comes from you. The things that you do, some of the things that you do that you can just say, that was ridiculous to do, and there's humor in that. And that laughter, that smile, will push you forward to make you continue doing whatever it is that you wanted to do. It's a natural healing tool. After the crying comes the smiling. After the hurt comes the laughing and the healing. And sometimes it can be done at the same time. Don't remove laughing and smiling from your life. It's harder to try to frown and remain upset than to try to heal yourself through laughter. More observations through photography. But if you have a dirty lens, you might not have a reason to laugh. You might want to take on all the world's problems, but not know what life is. You might want to take on all the world's problems, but not step outside the house because the news has made you scared. A lot of the world's problems are just right in front of you in that lens called the TV. Now once you decide to turn it off, you get your muscles back, you get your strength back. Now you can stand, now you can think, now you can look someone in the eye. Now you can be the person who you wanted to be. Now you could create laughter out of nothing. You can create something out of nothing. And that thing we call nothing are things that are deep inside of us, waiting to be planted and harvested. It takes courage to laugh. Did you order any Amazon packages today? If you can talk about someone, you can talk to the person. If you can tear somebody down or attempt to with your words, either through gossip or slander, you can afford yourself the responsibility to talk to that person. The only reason you're telling someone else about how bad that person is most likely because you want that other person to see that person the same way. You want to rob that person of their genuine, natural experience with that other person, which in itself is a little bit evil. So that does not create life inside of you. Anytime you feel tempted to get a group of people to see someone else in an unfavorable light, it's a form of death. And you're doing it because you want everyone to be against someone who is not currently in the room. And it takes courage to confront someone, to talk to them, see their side of the story, hear their side of the story, and talk with the person instead of about them. But if you don't want to do that, I am convinced that you do not want anything but destructive things in your life. Once you discover people like that, just remove yourself, cut yourself off from them, because you realize that they're not in it for resolution, they're in it for the chaos, they're in it for the conflict, and they're in it to make a clique or a group of people that do not want to solve any problem. They don't want to get better, they want to destroy. Observation. If you are up for it and you're up for a challenge that will teach you how far you have gone, I recommend you watch old movies, at least 10 years old. But if you're really feeling frisky, try movies that are about 20 years old and see what they mean to you now. Movies that you've loved, movies that you didn't get before, and now you're 20 years removed from it, watch them again. Whether it's Back to the Future, Home Alone, Ninja Turtles, see how much things have changed, and see how you have changed, and see if you still love that movie, and if you're still in that same place. Most likely, I almost can guarantee you, it's going to mean something totally different to you, even if it's a movie that you've seen 100 times. What's that movie you've seen 100 times? I thought she was so happy to see me. I thought that that person was so happy to see me. I thought that he was so happy to see me. No, it was just the caffeine. It'll wear off by 2 p.m. How many of you can relate to that? Drying up in conversation, you will be the one that cannot talk. All your insides fall to pieces. You just sit there wishing that you can still make love. Radiohead, 1997. What an interesting line. What a thought-provoking song. Should we continue? I spoke to you yesterday about rent and bills and how it's a small price to pay for your independence. I was speaking to a woman today who said that she did not want her son to move from home and it wouldn't bother her. Her son now is 16. And she worries that he might leave home too soon, but she also worries that he is not taking the necessary steps to become independent. After our discussion, she said it would not bother her, even at 40 years old, if her son were to live at home, as long as he's paying bills. It could be a cultural thing, but it's hard to come into your reality if you are not away from your mother, from your parents. It can hamper your growth in that she will always try to catch you when you fall. You might be paying rent, but you don't know as a son if you can really make it, as a daughter, if you can really make it in the world without the safety net of a parent always being there. As a parent, you're going to feel like, I need to help. I need to do this. But as a parent, you're also not going to push the child as much as they need to. And some parents might say, I can always get my son or daughter to move. You don't know the type of parent I am. You just don't know because I'm different. You see the way that I am with my son. Even if you're telling your son that and you're on top of that, you're on top of him like that, it's not helpful to him in him becoming the man that he needs to be useful to society or to someone else. It's something that can be debated until the cows come home, but I think the cows already came home and it's open season. It's time to realize that you have a way of weakening a human being by always being there for them, by always providing for them, by them knowing that, hey, I always have a place to come back to, but I don't know if I could ever leave because now I am used to this setup. Humans don't live forever. And it's not a good look, especially when a parent dies and the child does not know if they can make it on their own because they've never had it. So they might have to leech on someone else, onto someone else. Try to get that image in your head. So a lot of times when we're having these discussions, it's not just the image that you see on the paper with colors or black or white. It's what's behind it, what's really being said in this picture. If you look at a lot of war pictures or World War II pictures or that time period or even rural pictures of America or even Germany, Belgium, places like that, England, you'll see how responsible kids were at a very young age because it was necessary for them to be. So it goes back to what we were saying about comfort making us weaker. So anytime we know that we're going to be taken care of, we can delay adulthood for another year, for another year, for another decade. And right now, it seems that childhood doesn't have to end. Once you leave home, you could make the rules and grow at your own pace, but now someone else is now responsible for your well-being. Someone else doesn't have to tell you to clean your room. It's time to eat. This is where your food's going to come from. This is where your money's going to come from. And naturally, a son growing up in that environment is going to feel uncomfortable having to receive everything from a parent. Even if that child is now 25 and has to move back home, or 30 years old and has to move back home, there's a certain level of discomfort that should come to that child knowing that they can't go back, or that they're in a place where it's not their rules and now they have to live under someone else's roof for a period of time. And if you need help with this, that's what we're here for. There are a lot of people who can tell you this is a fact, this is truth, because they've experienced it themselves, or they have seen it in society and places where they have gone. What is the price for independence? So with that, I'd like to thank you for joining me here on this late evening. We usually shoot in the mornings, but we're going to shoot whenever the energy comes, and we hope the prayer here is that the energy not only comes, but that it stays where it needs to be productive and to be able to help one another. All of us have a teacher inside of us, ready, capable to help one another. And these divisions about race and inequality and income disparities, they all start and fall under the same heading of respect and wanting to progress. And with good humor, good mood, good faith, you can always progress as long as you have breath within your lungs. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye.